everybody. It's time for the last time. Time for the last time. Last time West Virginia plays Oklahoma in the sport of football. For many of us in our livelihoods.
Well, now you don't know that.
Bowl game. I'm in a bowl game sometime.
And the whole thing could blow up in 16 months and you got a whole new conference and you're back in with them.
Last game ever between West Virginia and Oklahoma. Welcome in. It's episode number 503
I'll take the field on that.
of Three Guys Before the Game. Yeah, I can just see Joe Castiglione, the AD, over there at Oklahoma, immediately jumping onto the phone. Hey, West Virginia, you guys want to do a home and home with us?
Yeah, here's the thing. You're probably right. It will never happen again. Absolutely could have seen you and Arizona State in the same conference coming, and you and Utah coming in the same league. So you're right. Oh, speaking absolutes when it comes to college athletics, because that'll probably be the case.
Couple years in the SEC, they might be looking for some other games.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
All due respect.
This is the
To us.
West Virginia-Oklahoma preview of Three Guys Before the Game, brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, efficient for 25 years. You know, Hop, it's really, really important to be safe and secure in your workplace.
To not be trapped.
To not be trapped in your workplace. So you have safety barriers set up around you, and Comax Business Systems does that. So those that are trying to get into your network and to your business and into your system, they run away like a scalded cat. ComaxWV.com. Three Guys also brought to us by GoMart. Go for good times. Go for GoMart. And right now, you can get triple points on Tuesdays and Saturdays with your GoMart card. Say, TC, how do you get one of those there GoMart cards? Quite easy. Go to the website gomart.com for details. You can download the app and get the GoMart card, so do check that out. Three Guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Got a great end-of-the-season opportunity for you on one of their Avalon Tri-Tunes, plus confirmation on the James Bond using the Lou Wendell Marine Sales as their pond. Got a picture coming up later in the show.
Awesome.
Yeah. And spreads on stats. We'll break down the numbers coming up thanks to the folks at Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond the numbers, the Conley CPA Group. By the way, next Thursday when we record the Cincinnati Preview Center,
Yes.
the Conley people are coming in.
When? What day?
Next Thursday before we do
Awesome.
this.
Nice.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So Skippy will be doing his coffee clutch. I think we get him in here a little bit earlier, and then we come down.
Sure.
They come in.
Excellent. Looking forward to that.
Come in and kiss his ring and do the whole thing.
I haven't done anything wrong.
There he is, right? That's Hoppy there. That's him right there. Can we go near him? Nah, don't get too close.
I have miscast.
No.
I have misrepresented.
No, what you came in with before we started recording today just absolutely validates everything that we think. Made some accusations. They were founded to be untrue.
I don't want to get into that now.
That's fine. We don't need you to. We don't need you to. So last time through, West Virginia, Oklahoma.
Stop saying that.
West Virginia, Oklahoma, Hoppy. I want you to do something for me.
Yes, sir.
Since you've had the opportunity to be around for a bit, what was your recollection of returning from Norman in 1982 when West Virginia beat the Sooners?
I'll tell you exactly what it was. West Virginia went into that game. Jeff Hostetler as quarterback. I think it was his first start.
It was. It was just coming out, yeah.
There were no expectations that West Virginia could win that game, and West Virginia that was a good team with Haas, and went in and beat Oklahoma, beat them.
Lined up, beat them
on a hot day in Norman. Hostetler went crazy. I forget what his numbers are. Threw bombs, threw the ball over the field. And I think it was a stunning victory. It was a program win for Don Nehlen,
Yes.
Still in the early years for Don Nehlen. And we planned a welcome home, and fans came out to the facilities building, and we broadcast live, and the team got back like at midnight, and it was a chaotic scene. And Don Nehlen got off the bus. You know how Nehlen's like, what are these people doing here? We got to get ready. And he got off the bus. I'll never forget this. And so whatever, we had a reporter out there, and we were going live and said, Coach, what about the Oklahoma win? And Neil goes, Maryland's the key game. Maryland, because next week was the Maryland. He was already thinking about the next game. He didn't want people like preoccupied with Oklahoma. Maryland is the key game. But it was one of the great wins in Mountaineer football history, and it was an arrival. It was a seminal moment for Don Nealon.
Were you landing in Morgantown back then?
No, I wasn't with the team.
Okay.
I was back at the station.
Was the team landing in Morgantown back then?
I don't remember. They were on buses, so they might have come down from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I don't remember. They arrived at buses at the facilities building, and there were fans there, and they'd been there. We love you, Don. We love you. It was great.
There was a lot of love.
It was a great scene.
Well, think about it. At that point, West Virginia had come off of 4 consecutive losing seasons, 77, 78, 79. Nealon comes in, 80, wins 6. 81, he wins 9.
So that was 81?
No, it was 81, he won 9, and this was 82. He had won the bowl game at the end of the 81 season.
I'll beat
right?
Florida.
Yeah, exactly right. And as they come out of that after that bowl game, victory, the first game of the next season, they beat Oklahoma. And everyone goes,
first game?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his debut.
Yeah, pretty
So
good
think
start.
about that. So you have that one. You have
Hurling Beck on a draw play.
Yeah, big
Secured
draw.
the win.
I've seen that play. And then the Fiesta Bowl victory, and then last season here. Those are the 3 wins West Virginia has against Oklahoma. They're 3-11 all time in the series. This is the 15th meeting coming up on Saturday night. Now they did obviously get them last year here. Before that, last trip to Norman makes you still. It gives you that pit in your stomach. You had the procedure inside the goal on 1st and goal. You had the snap, and then they hit you with a walk-off field goal, and they walked off. So the way I'm looking at this thing, this is as good of a chance to take your swing as ever. You've won 2 games in a row. You finally got the offensive line back together. Running backs, 2 of them, are playing well. Defense, solid the last couple of games. Let's go ball.
Tony, this is an opportunity game, is what it is. And you don't get many of those, and that's what this is. Because, Brad, if West Virginia goes out and you lose, it's bad. It's not a good thing. It's not the end of the world. You're really not in the national discussion, maybe the national stories. Oh, Oklahoma finally got back on the winning track. If you go win, there'll be 2 narratives on this nationally, because it will be discussed. Even though there's a preoccupation with who the top 4 teams are. It will be like, wow, what's wrong with Oklahoma? They've lost 3 in a row. But also, you can't just only talk about that. There will be others on the national media who will say, how about West Virginia going into Oklahoma and winning? And how about this Garrett Green had a big game? And, Neil Brown was on the hot seat, and he's turned it around. So you have an opportunity here to push yourself into some of the national discussion with a win.
Yeah, and you're still hanging around. Taking a swing at the conference championship game, right? I mean, I know that's unlikely probably for both teams in this game, but it's still alive. I'm interested to watch this Mountaineer team that now has it back on track a little bit over the last 2 go in there and what is the most difficult place to play in this league at this moment. So you go in there and you take your swings at these guys. I'm anxious to watch Garrett Green perform against this defense. I'm anxious to watch this defense. How do you stack up against what will be the best quarterback you face this year in Dylan Gabriel? I mean, he's fantastic. And then the second part of that is, where is Oklahoma's collective head here, right? They've lost a couple games, and when it's Oklahoma, the losses for them are like dog years. Calculate them in dog years, right? So they're out of the BCS mix. They're probably out of the Big 12 championship game mix. How do they respond to that? Is that they come out swinging because their backs are against the wall, or do they just say, 2 goals are out, we're out?
You go old school there?
What?
BCS?
Did I say BCS?
Yeah. And Ray, look at the losses. I mean, Kansas is not the Kansas of old, but still you lost to Kansas, and then you lost Bedlam. I mean, those aren't just losses; those are losses.
Yeah, and it's interesting in talking to their folks and looking into them these last couple weeks. Their 2-game losing streak is exactly like West Virginia's 2-game losing streak. It's fueled by injuries and turnovers, right? They've gone through both of those things, and both were uncharacteristic for them in their start. So they hit that rough patch that West Virginia did a couple of years ago. So this should be fun. I'm anxious. You go in there and take your swing, and if it's the last time you play them for a long time, okay, so be it. Go take your swings.
Some are saying last time ever.
Might be a little much.
They're saying that.
Bowl game.
Yeah.
Conference game in 2030.
When when we're in the when 2030, when everyone's in the national conference.
Yeah, when you're in the Super League.
The Super League.
When it's 2030 and whoever the AD is then says, oh, your non-conference opponents are Pitt, Penn State, and Oklahoma.
Yeah. And by them playing in Reykjavik, Iceland as a neutral site
Alaska
game.
Fairbanks road game.
Playing in London.
I'm going to head over to Chaminade for a Tuesday game.
Well, you know the thing that's not funny about that? I mean, this Gonzaga thing in the Big 12 continues to percolate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not over. I mean, still working it. They're still working it. They're still trying to push it.
Okay.
Now, they're in Spokane. I don't know if you know that or not. It's way out there. I flew out there once. Now, that's a trip. Now, you can say everything you want about going to Lubbock. Go to Spokane.
Yeah.
That seems like a whole nother. Anyway.
Going to line up, talk to Nate Adrian's team over in Italy, see if they can join the league.
But that's beside the point.
You could probably get there more quickly.
Yeah, that international TV money there's nice. Right? Take a look at that. Untapped market there.
We'll get into spreads
out
on
of Rome.
We'll get into
Maybe
spreads.
Switzerland. Or Indonesia.
That's harder to get to.
Go ahead, I'm done.
Did you see the South Carolina women played in Paris? Did you see that? They opened their season, right? I'm right? I read that right?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they played in Paris. They boat raced Notre Dame, but the women's game was in Paris to open up their season. I mean, it's happening, right? It's happening. Since the last time we got together, which was Sunday when we recorded, the Mountaineer men's basketball team opened up, and that was interesting for a bunch of different reasons. Historic, interesting, got the result that you were looking for, but perhaps not in the way that you thought you would get there. It was, instead of a straight line to the conclusion, it was a bit of a maze that you had to get through.
Circuitous route.
Yeah, when you miss 21 field goal attempts and go over 14 minutes without a field goal.
Were you counting?
No. Well, I have a monitor in front of me, so I'd look down.
14:07 to be exact. The final 14:07 of the half.
Yeah.
Without a field goal.
Ouch.
That was a rough first half.
I talked to
good
Seth.
News coming out of that
the
first
good news
half.
was you were only down 6 because you made 15 foul shots. You made 15 foul shots, yeah. And then they made free throws well. I mean, they only took a few in the second half, but then at the end of the game, shooting well from the free throw line, which is key. And then they came out. I talked to Seth Wilson yesterday, and I said, what was that like in the locker room there at halftime? And what's going on? He goes, well, to be quite honest with you, we kind of laughed about it. Like, it can't get worse.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I'm missing layups. He said, it was just totally out of character. So I'll be really interested tomorrow when the Hawks of Monmouth come in and to see how much West Virginia can clean up in the half-court offense, get the spacing, run better, cut better, run better screens, do that kind of stuff.
Understand each other better. I thought that was pretty obvious in the first half. It wasn't just guys missing shots, which they were, and then ultimately hit in the second half. Shot 58%, so it bounced back. I just thought it was clear there was guys and combinations there looking for just that fluidity that comes from playing together and getting reps. This group doesn't have it. Doesn't have players that have played together enough. So I thought that was clear in the first half that will continue to get worked out here as the games go on. That's the beauty of basketball. You play so many darn games. You can rep those and get that back pretty quickly.
Yeah, and like you said, Oklahoma right now with its 2-game football losing streak, it seems like for them, since they don't lose often, it seems like 2 years. And so when you lose in football, everyone knows it's 7 days. You sit here and you
stew and you pick it apart and you dive into everything. What's wrong? Offensive coordinator out, quarterback's no good, get him out. Receiver's no good, tight ends can't play, line's terrible. Get everybody out, fire everybody.
Yeah, and it's not until normally like Wednesday afternoon. If you have a bad loss, it's like Wednesday afternoon from a fan's perspective that they're finally able to let it go and say, okay, all right, what do we have this week now? But in basketball, like, it's a shoulder shrug, like, okay, we lost one, now let's get going here. And especially when you get to these tournaments in Thanksgiving week, like you play, like you could go back-to-back days. A lot of these tournaments are play off day and then play again. So you all of a sudden you start putting a lot of games in your bag really quick.
It happens every year. We do. There's multiple times when we do a sports line that comes after 2 games have been played. that's how fast they come.
However,
the
other side of that is if you're struggling and you get on a little bit of a schneid there in mid-February, Oh, you lost 4 games in a row, and you got to go on the road, and you got to play. I mean,
They keep coming at you.
That's exactly right.
It's hard to stand up off the mat because someone's standing over you ready to punch again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Last night, Jimmy Bell, former Mountaineer center, now playing at Mississippi State, matched up with Jose Perez, Mississippi State against Arizona State. And Jimmy Bell almost doubled. He went 13-9, and Mississippi State ran all over Arizona State. And Jose Perez, who never played at EVU but lived here, started but was 0 for 4 from the field, and I think he had 2 points at the foul line, and that was it. So just kind of like, man, everything. Basketball, to me, there's no sport like college basketball. It's always been chaotic. It's always been a wink-wink sport, how you get your players, the whole thing. Now it's entered into an entirely different level of that. You throw the portal in, you throw NIL in, you throw everything else. It's absolute chaos. It's entertaining chaos. It's so crazy. Would you agree with that, Senator?
Yeah. Yes. And it's even more unpredictable now because of what we just talked about with West Virginia. You're just throwing lineups out for most of these teams that have not been there before, have not played together. So there's tons of chaos that unpredictability creates.
But boy, you don't get a chance to. I mean, you enjoy, like last year, you enjoyed the coach, right? And you don't get a chance to have more time with them. That's
and you'll do that like a Jesse Edwards will be that way this year.
Yeah,
because I've seen him now in an exhibition and 1 game live, and I'm already going, dang it.
Right.
You're already.
Dang it. It's got 28 games left, and you're already saying, wish you could watch that guy for 3 years.
There's 5 times more stability in the pros. I mean, really. Now college players are like James Harden. I mean, which team is he on now?
Yeah.
He's with the Clippers now. I mean, but it's like that.
Yeah, you're right.
How do I know that?
That was a rare NBA nugget for you.
Don't know how I know that. Not sure.
Thought you were going to break down how you like him in the 2-man game with Kawhi Leonard there for me. That was very well done.
You know, speaking of that, Coach Stevenson, Hoppy, you alluded to Coach Stevenson.
Yes, Coach Stevenson.
He has begun his apprenticeship in the G League with the Austin Spurs, and I was just going to look here like really super quick. What's he done so far?
See, we miss him, right?
Yeah,
he was great. That was a great 1 year.
Yeah, it was.
It's a great 1 year. Oh, it's gone. It's over.
What's he done so far? Coach Stevenson. Not that I'd want to do this before. Oh, they haven't played yet. Okay.
Well, then probably doesn't have very good numbers yet.
Either they haven't or he hasn't. But nothing yet.
Coming
soon. He'll be wearing number 2, Eric Stevenson. All right, ready to do this thing?
Yeah.
How are these numbers? These are mature numbers now. We only have 3 regular season games left.
Yeah.
Right? So these are mature.
Yeah. We'll
you always say when the season starts, like,
so I check the numbers.
They'll mature as the year goes
go right
on.
to the numbers. Here comes the heater.
Well, we'll get to it. We're well baked.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show. Ready? 5, 4, 2.
That's right. Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. They're the ones providing value beyond the numbers, and they do so much more than just tax preparation. That's almost, sure, you get that. Consultancy, helping you be your very best within your business, so you pay your fair share, but you don't overpay. You know? Sometimes people get, an IRS return. What do they call that thing when you get money back?
Refund?
Yeah, you get a refund. Some people take the check and take the wrong half of it and throw it in the garbage, then go to the bank with a wrong check. I've heard about that happening to people.
Why you guys?
Conley CPA Group will tell you which side of the check to take to the bank to get your refund that they provide for you. Thanks to the folks at the Conley CPA Group, they'll be here for a meal next Thursday.
Can't wait.
Maybe they can sort out the finances.
Maybe they can. All right, hit me with anything make you go, whoa.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
ready?
All right,
Here we go.
The glasses
Let's dive
just
right
went
in.
on. Yeah.
You mentioned those numbers, and they become more stable as you get throughout the year, and you have more of this year's numbers into those, and so hopefully you can get a little more predictive. But here's one, and I talk about it every week, pre and post game. We've gone to this, And it's the biggest key for West Virginia's defense, and that's the ability to get other teams, your opponents, into passing downs. And there's a pretty simple line of demarcation here. You keep teams in passing downs 30% of the time or more, West Virginia wins. The only exception to that was UCF.
Say that again.
Keep teams in passing downs 30% of the time or more, and West Virginia has won the game. The only exception was UCF. So teams are in passing downs less than 30% of the time. It's been a loss. Penn State, Houston, Oklahoma State, all below 30%.
But do you want to do that? Does that mean as much when you're playing a team who has the best quarterback in the league?
It's a good question. So let's keep going here, Hop.
Okay.
Thank you for asking that. So each of those teams and UCF, which is why that number was the outlier, you still found a way to win. What did all of those teams do against West Virginia? They were able to run the football, right? They had success running it against West Virginia. So that becomes the question here. The first question before you get to the quarterback part of Oklahoma is, can West Virginia limit Oklahoma's rushing attack? Right. And this is interesting. It's not been the same rushing offense we've seen before from the Sooners. I mean, we've seen some unbelievable performances when they've come in here. Remember Samaje Perine coming in here? He might still be running.
Remember him.
He might still 298, 284, whatever the heck he went for. This doesn't seem to be the same Oklahoma rush offense that we've seen. Some of that has to do with injuries they've sustained to each of the running backs they've tried to put in their lineup at different times. But Hop, they have a negative EPA per rush on the season. So EPA is expected points added. It's a way to measure the success of each of those plays, in this case, the run. But a negative EPA per rush attempt for Oklahoma. The reason, Hop, that you want to get teams in passing downs is because when they're one-dimensional, it makes it easier, right? Sure. If you don't know what you're guarding, you've got a lot of problems, and that's been the success to West Virginia's offense for the wins, right? You don't know what they're going to do. Who's running it? Are you throwing it? Are you throwing it deep? Are you going underneath? So if you can make somebody one-dimensional, even if it's a Dylan Gabriel who's outstanding and has the ability to scramble, you take your shot. And if they beat you being one-dimensional, then so be it. But can West Virginia limit the attack? That's the first part. So if they can, then I think you're going to get some pressure on Dylan Gabriel. Now, this stat's no surprise. This just backs up what you know about most quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel, different quarterback when under pressure. His PFF passer rating grade when clean, 90.2. That's the best in the Big 12.
That's pretty good.
His passer rating when he's under pressure, 61.9. Again, that's pretty standard for most quarterbacks. I don't know anybody whose number's better when they're under pressure. So get after Gabriel, make it a little bit difficult. But here's the other part of the equation. Here's the other part. If you can limit the run game, where this helps you in this matchup in particular. If OU can run it successfully, it really opens up their ability to play action you, which they love to do, guys. Gabriel leads the league in dropbacks with play action and has a 70% completion percentage on those passes. They're one of the most successful teams in college football with play action. They check in top 5 nationally in that category in success rate when using play action. So this one has an added layer of importance to stop the run game. If they're running on you and then they can play action you, look out. It's going to be a long day, and they've been very good at the play action game.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's good stuff.
Okay, so there's one. Flip over to the other side. Let's do West Virginia's rush offense against OU's rush defense.
Story of the game.
Numbers. Oklahoma leads the Big 12 in stuffs. That's the number of runs that are stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage. West Virginia's offense is the best in the Big 12 in stuff rate. Teams have not been able to stuff them very often.
Thank you, C.J. Donaldson.
That'll be a good one. Oklahoma leads the Big 12 in tackles for loss. Oklahoma's second in the Big 12 in EPA per attempt, their defense is, going against teams running the football. A huge part of their defense overall, and their run defense in particular, is linebacker Danny Stutzman. He's a flat-out stud.
Around.
He's been hurt, hasn't he?
He has. I'm getting to that. Thank you. Fourth in the Big 12 in stops. So that's a PFF stat that's defined as a play that's a failure for the offense. So he, by himself, is fourth. Sports Info Solutions has a stat that's called points saved. It's based off EPA, your expected points added. He leads the Big 12 in that category. Let's talk about how valuable he is to that defense.
Needs to be out there for them, yeah.
He needs to be out there. He's second in the Big 12 in tackles for loss. So he didn't play last week due to injury. Toby Rowland, the Oklahoma play-by-play voice, was on Sportsline with us last night. He said he'd be surprised if Stutzman didn't try and play, but the question remains, is he 100%? What do you get out of him? So keep an eye on Stutzman when he's on the field, assuming he tries to play. That's a major factor. Now flip over to the other side of that matchup, WVU. I mentioned they're the best in the league, the Mountaineers are, in stuff rate, offensively, not allowing it very often. West Virginia's third in the Big 12 in EPA per attempt when running it. And here's an important part of that. They're one of only 3 teams in the league with a positive total expected points added on the season when running it. So, you know they like to run it. You know they've been successful. They're one of 3 that has a positive EPA. That's pretty impressive in this league.
Fair to say this is where the whole thing is going to be decided?
Yeah, because it's the whole key to West Virginia's offense. If they can run it, you've got big problems because now the passing game comes along with it. And so I think it's the same thing for Oklahoma. If they can run it, then they start play actioning you. Then it's really hard to figure out what Gabriel's doing back there. So who can run the ball? I think that's important.
Right, I'm sorry, you got more?
Go ahead. No, I got one more, but go ahead.
Well, I was going to go back to – go ahead because I want to go back to your third down.
Okay. You know I like to give you matchups.
Well, sure.
I like to dive into a matchup for our grand finale.
Yeah. Well, didn't you have Beanie Bishop first down interceptions last week?
We did, and we were right there. Beanie had his hands on a first down interception, and then Aubrey Burks almost got it on the rebound. We were that close, Kirchhoff. So here's one. Let's try this week. Ready? Let's try Cole Taylor versus the Oklahoma pass defense.
Yeah.
With an assist maybe from Preston Fox.
What do you mean? What do you mean by
Well,
this?
I'll give you this. Teams are averaging 24.6 yards per attempt on the seam route versus the Oklahoma defense. It's the 3rd most in the league. Now, it's a small sample size, but I continue. West Virginia is 3rd in the Big 12 in yards per attempt on their own seam routes offensively. So West Virginia likes it. Oklahoma's had trouble stopping it.
There we go.
West Virginia has the 5th most air yards on seam routes in the Big 12. They have the 2nd best passer rating in the Big 12 on the seam route. And one Cole Taylor's run the 3rd most seam routes in the Big 12. And I think you may remember he caught a touchdown pass on that route last week.
He broke tacklers.
He did.
On his way in.
Preston Fox also has a couple of catches down the seam. So keep an eye on that. If you want to really niche down, watch West Virginia hitting down the seam to a Taylor, a Preston Fox, but you've seen Traylon Ray down there. You've seen Carter down there. That might be an area where you can exploit.
Very good.
That would be good. I mean, he had a great touchdown catch last week, but also there was some misses last week. Remember, either for whatever reason, I think he was targeted like 6 times. So there was some issues there.
C.J. Donaldson had 2
Yeah.
little fluffy little beach balls out to the flat. You got to make those plays. And I'm not blaming him. Garrett didn't put it in a really super comfortable position to catch it. They got to get those.
Got to make those.
They get those locked in there finally and get that ball in there. It makes a world of difference.
Yeah, and you didn't need it last week, right? I mean, those were okay. You could overcome those. This week's going to be a different deal. I mean, this is – and that's the thing. These have been close games they've lost. This is a really good Oklahoma team. They've totally bounced back from where they were last year. And I know some of their fan base is on fire about certain areas. This is a really good team, and you're facing the best quarterback you've played this year. So you're going to have to go in and play. You're not going to be able to miss those opportunities. You get Cole Taylor down the seam, you've got to hit him. You get Preston Fox down that seam, you've got to hit him and take advantage of those things that on paper at least you have the advantage with.
Let me go back to your third down, and maybe you can micro down on the stats even more, because Oklahoma, I think, is like 47% on third down. I mean, they have an incredible third down percentage, which is something like 21st in the country. So, Brad, I'd like to know if it was like third and what, like their average was third and what, because that makes a big difference. 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 8. What is their most common third down yardage to get?
You talking about them on offense?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have that right in front of me, but I can look that up for you.
In the meantime, I'll let you know that Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the Conley CPA Group, providing themselves the opportunity to serve folks across the state of West Virginia from 1985 to the present day, and they are all over the place, whether you need audit and assurance, tax planning preparation, consulting, advisory, outsourcing accounts, outsourcing your CFO services. They can do it all. It's the Conley CPA Group.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to give you one third down stat here. This surprised me a little bit on their pass plays on third down. Again, thanks to my friends over at Sports Info Solutions. They have Oklahoma as only 7th in the Big 12 on positive percentage on third down pass plays. So that's the percentage of pass plays that result in a positive EPA. So they've been good on third, but they've passing the ball there isn't as high in overall plays as some of the other teams in the league.
Yeah.
Keep an eye.
But, Dylan, I mean, this is going to be the best quarterback you play all year in Dylan Gabriel. He's completing 71% of his passes, 20 touchdown passes. But something I don't know what it is the last couple of games. I think, Tony, they have 6 turnovers the last 3 games.
Correct. Have had some issues with their center.
Yeah, and
That's caused a lot of
and they've had
dust up
motion
there.
penalties and some stuff just not quite right.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. That was West Virginia for 2 games, and it didn't become, what do we always say? You can't necessarily pick those trends up and move them forward. West Virginia cleaned all that up. I can't imagine those things continue for Oklahoma. I mean, the center with bad snaps, that's going to be something that they get figured out there, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
They got a quarterback that's going to be their guy next year because Dylan Gabriel's one and doneer. After this year, he's done. And his name is Jackson Arnold, true freshman, Denton, Texas. You know anything about Denton, Texas, Hobby?
Home of University of North Texas.
Right.
A lot of football players outside of Dallas. A lot of players there.
So he wasn't just the Gatorade player in the state of Texas last year. He was a Gatorade player in the nation.
Oh.
So he's their future. He has had limited playing time this season. In high school, he threw for 7,000 yards, 67 touchdowns, ran it for 1,580 yards, scored 36 touchdowns. And he just might get on the field on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Might just get on the field. Might give him a couple of those apprenticeship series where they put him out there. So far this year, he's 13 of 15, 169 yards. He's thrown the ball 15 times. He's thrown 2 touchdowns. And he's run it a dozen times for 54 yards and a score. So the Oklahoma fans are kind of going like, so we're not going to be in the CFP. He's going to be the guy. Why don't we let him go around here a little bit? Pretty good. Pretty good. So don't be surprised. Jackson Arnold, number 10.
Coach Hunter brought up an interesting point last night on Sportsline. Last time we were there, we referenced that game. Last time West Virginia was there. Remember the Oklahoma fans were calling for Caleb Williams in that game.
Yeah.
They were out of their mind about Spencer
correct.
Rattler, calling for, there was boos. They were calling for Caleb Williams. Did not get in that game against West Virginia, but then turned around, played against Texas, and he was off and running as their quarterback. It's interesting they're in that position now.
And going back a couple times there, you remember when Baker Mayfield got in trouble and they suspended him, and they started Kyler Murray, and he played 2 snaps. And on his second one, he ran to Tulsa.
Yes.
Like right out of the stadium, the security was nice enough. They put the big, huge door open. He ran through the goalpost all the way to Tulsa, and West Virginia's still chasing him.
That was one of those moments as we were watching that game. I remember thinking this, that, are you kidding me? You got a guy that's going to win the Heisman. He's out, and you bring that guy in, and he does that. It was very reminiscent of, I've told this story before. We were over at Maryland. I was still working in the athletic department. And I had a friend of mine at Maryland that had us in a box. And we were standing there watching the game, and it was second half. West Virginia's rolling. They'd pulled Slayton out of the game because he'd already run for 4,000 yards in the game. And they put Noel Devine in, West Virginia did, and he takes off down the field. And that was that one where he's running straight ahead, and it looked like somebody hit the button on the video game, and he just went laterally. Went laterally by the defender and then took off. And I remember the guy looking at me and saying, "Are you freaking kidding me? That's your backup?" I said, no, it was one of those, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, we're embarrassing you. Yeah. That's what I felt like when Kyler Murray took off on that run. You're like, are you kidding me? Yeah. That guy's the backup?
Yeah, that was a bad. I remember that too. I don't remember anything else about that game except, that's a bad sign for things to come.
Well, think about that, dude. Think about their quarterbacks.
Oh my gosh,
Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams, this cat here. Yeah. I mean, are you kidding me?
Well, you're blue. You get 5 stars all the time. I mean, you're just going to get quarterbacks. You're Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Here's the other part of this I'm anxious to watch is, again, we think this West Virginia offense has figured it out and it's rolling. You mentioned if Nestor returns to this lineup, you've got that offensive line intact, and it adds you super sub Nick Malone can come in as an on balance, right? Gives you some real depth there to run it. The OU defense is interesting here. The last 4 games, they've had 64 missed tackles. So they're missing a bunch of tackles, too, in addition. Can West Virginia, this probably isn't the team you want to see running downhill at you if you're struggling to make tackles. But I go back to, and this was 1 game and 1 half. Their game against UCF, guys, I watched that multiple times that first half. That was as aggressive and fast of a defense as I've seen in a while. And I don't know if that was an aberration for the defense. They're clearly better than they've been.
They were striking.
You get Brent Venables as your head coach, your defense is going to get better. It has. It was unbelievable, the pressure and the speed at which they were and the effort they were giving attacking UCF in that. So if you get a really PO'd Oklahoma defense, which I can't imagine you won't see, West Virginia's going to have to be ready because they're going to come out and hit you right in the mouth.
Yeah, so that's the thing. The intangible to this game is this. They've brought a bunch of transfers in like everybody else, right? So, like, now that their goal of winning the league and going to the CFP is over, like, how do they do? Do they okay, we're good, let's just get this thing, let's get back? Or does it become plus add in? I don't know. Chances are they play really hard under the lights, I think. But you'll know early based upon how frenetic their defense plays. Like if West Virginia's starting to run its stuff and it's just explosively physical and guys are just getting mauled to the ground, you'll know they're there to play. But if you see West Virginia break a tackle or two and get a little something, then maybe they're not totally locked in. That'll be an interesting part. West Virginia will be locked in. They'll go ball. Mm-hmm. They'll go football. They'll go football. Three guys we get before the game is brought to us by good folks at Lou Wendell Marine Sales, located in St. Albans. And right now, the 2023 Avalon 2385 Entertainer is a special three guys opportunity for you. Of course, it includes the opportunities to fish, water ski, tube, and of course, entertain family and friends. It's got so much stuff. It's got more lights on it than Ogilvy during Christmas. You turn that's in the showroom, right? You can't see how many lights that thing has on it.
I wonder if it has like rope lights under the.
Oh, whatever you need, they got it. And
it's a nice boat.
It's gorgeous. It's the Tri-Tune. It's the Avalon Tri-Tune Entertainer. Right now, three guys special, $89,774. $89,774. Tell them when you go in, hey, I want the three guys special, and you got that deal. Shall we heal? We all need to heal. Sometimes it's physical healing. Sometimes it's emotional healing. And sometimes it's textual healing. So one and all, let's gather together and heal. Textual healing is brought to us by episode800.com, where our elves are currently getting our holiday shopping cart ready for you. We're going to have a lot of stuff. Fruitcakes, walnuts, 6-pound raisin, and a dozen pears.
All unconfirmed.
And a partridge in a pear tree. That's coming up, my gosh, that'll be next week.
Maids of Milking?
November 15th, the holiday shopping cart opens.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think. If not, we'll say it's a different day. Yeah, so check it out.
Goosey.
What? You think I'm going over the top?
Probably overpromised. That'd be a start.
How much stuff is on the site now?
There's quite a few nice items.
Pretty good selection.
Yeah, nice items. The coffee's coming out on the 15th.
Coffee's good.
It is good, isn't it? Very tasty.
Yeah. Wish I had some right now.
I've been bouncing back and forth between the one that Aaron sent us from Africa, that the Rwandan coffee. That's really good too. Yeah, really good. Senator and I went and got coffee yesterday. We went over to the high school yesterday morning to watch Sharon Young sign his national letter of intent over at Morgantown High. We had a couple minutes before, and we went over to the coffee shop over there across the bridge, and Senator got one, and I got one. He said, "Why'd you just get a small one like that?" I said, "Because already today, I may have overconsumed already."
Oh.
Yeah. So I said, "I tell you what, why don't you just drive over to the high school? I'm going to sprint." So I told him.
Stop at the bathroom 3 times.
And I beat him. And I beat him there. So anyway, Morgantown High, that was a neat little thing, right?
It's great. Did a great job.
Sharon is going to go to Akron. And they had a bunch of student athletes there. Nikki Izzo Brown's daughter.
Gracie,
another going to Auburn. So she'll have 2 at Auburn. We had Niagara softball represented.
Yeah, Emily Peterson.
Yeah, we had
there.
Clarion. We had Clarion swimming.
West Virginia swimming.
Yeah. And then West Virginia swimming. My buddy Kyle Linschide's daughter signed. So yeah, it was neat. They brought us in the library. Hoppy, he and I had been in the library. I told him, walked in. I said, "I'm gonna steal 6 books before we leave out of this place." So it was good.
We had a good time.
Yeah. Saw Coach Tallman
Yeah.
He's getting ready. Basketball practice starts on Monday. They're all geared up, ready to go.
They'll be good again.
Yeah, they're expected to do well. You guys ready for some healing?
Sure.
Stats, scoops, and beer entrepreneur. Guys, I think I got the perfect home version of saying thanks for having us. Watch for deer. As we all know, it's the perfect goodbye in West Virginia. Philip from Philippi, or maybe Charleston, love the show. It makes travel to Cincinnati multiple times a week easier. So you just go like, hey, man, be good. Watch for deer. That might be a good one.
Yeah. Put that in there.
Yeah. Season, yeah, I get you could go with that. I got one that I remembered when I saw this. So I was down in Greenbrier County a couple years ago, and we were just going different places. And my wife and I noticed that when we were leaving people, to say, okay, hey, see you later, they give you a huge, hey, be careful. So Joan said to me, like, what's the be careful stuff? And I go, I just think what they say. You ever notice that? That might be more of a southern West Virginia thing, but they'll give you a big, hey, be careful. Yeah. So I think maybe we give them that when teams are leaving Morgantown. Hey, man, good to see you. Be careful. What do you think?
Well, it depends on what. I mean, are you trying to legitimately give them a well wish, or do you want a little edge to it?
Depends on who it is. I mean, but no.
If you want an edge to it, then be careful is not it. I mean, you got to have something a little edgier.
Okay.
I mean, the home equivalent of thanks for having us, and I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to try to find what that is.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, Charles Wesley Godwin's episode was phenomenal. Thanks for having him. I'm already excited for Friday, January the 19th. Charles opens for Jackson Isbell and the Turnpike Troubadours at the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. It'll be my first time seeing him in concert. It promises to be a phenomenal weekend. I tried to see him here in Tulsa when he opened for Zach Bryan a couple months ago. Those tickets in the nosebleed section would have cost me more than what I've paid to attend 6 WVU football games so far this year. So when you say Charles is hot right now, you are totally on point. Also, nothing would make me happier than yelling, thanks for having us to those SEC snobs in Norman this week. The bragging rights I would have with my business partners for the rest of time will be priceless, because he also thinks this will be the last. One more thing, Hoppy. Hoppy said West Virginia's got a 100% chance of winning when they rush for 336. Well, as Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. Remember when Tavon was, pretty good, and West Virginia rushed for 458, and we still lost to, as he writes, Oklahoma. Between that 50-49 heartbreak, the excessive blocking in 2018, the bad snap in 21, I have a little PTSD. A win Saturday, and I'll trust the climb until I die. Signed by Matt in Tulsa.
That's a good point. Tavon almost didn't he have 336 by himself? It was right around that number.
One of the great moments, even though West Virginia lost that game, one of the great moments in Mountaineer history, when they come out and Tavon's in the backfield.
They still don't know what was happening.
3 runs in, timeout.
They had no idea. Yeah, that's true, though. Talk about that. That one, and then he's right. That excessive blocking, I still haven't seen that called. Still haven't seen that. But you know what I have seen? I've seen multiple videos people put out there on social. This is how you should block. This is how guys driving people into the sideline and burying them.
Horse crap.
Ridiculous call.
I told you why they did that.
Why?
He got that called against him because he was acting goofy earlier in the game, and they'd warned him about doing stuff. They had his number in their head, and then when they saw him do that, they said, okay, here you go. Got one for you. That's what it was. That was why that happened. No question. Texters,
what's the signal for excessive blocking?
They probably just call it unsportsmanlike or something.
Yeah, I think they do.
Oh.
Texter here in Morgantown for football and basketball games, enjoying some Kirchevale. There they are. Robert and Luann Watterson. Do we have that picture, Luke? Husband and wife having a Kirchevale? There they are.
Hey.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
They're wonderful people.
Kind of neat.
Crisp and refreshing brew.
Yes,
Hi to Robert and Luann. Good to see them.
Well done.
It's a hot lager. No, it's actually a Pilsner. Texter, just got done listening to the BYU blowout cast. You all are silly with how much favorable bias you show towards Neil Brown. I'm not saying he's not turning things around. He might be. You all are already ready to open up the checkbook and talk extension. I hope you all realize that he's just now 500 after his 6th win this season, and you all act like everything is all good now. This is how we got in trouble with his contract last time. Go on with your excuses why Neil needed more time than all the other coaches that have started when he did and succeed.
Can I weigh in on that?
Well, sure. You're one of the 3 guys.
Is that he is clearly on path to remain and continue as the head coach. Clearly, Brad, you want a couple more wins here just to solidify things. I mean, if you would lose, which I don't think will happen, if you would somehow lose the next 3 games, I think again people would get it would get a little bit hotter, certainly for Neil Brown, but he's certainly on course to be retained. Here's the question about an extension, because I think he has 3 years left. And probably, I don't know who his agent is, but let's say he finishes and they finish with 7 or 8 wins, and the agent comes in and goes, now we want an extension because they always ask for extensions, they're good for recruiting, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the comeback on that. Doesn't matter. Anymore, that matters less and less, Brad, because you don't have as much of the high school recruiting as you do just going out and get players. So a coach doesn't necessarily need, they may want to have 4 or 5 years, but you don't necessarily have to give 4 or 5 years anymore to a coach. And I would say if he finishes the season, 7-5 or something, you're really right around 500. I don't know whether this athletic department's going to be ready to go, oh yeah, you have an extension, don't worry about it, it's all good. I think it'd just be like, okay, great. West Virginia's on the way back, go get some more players and let's see what happens.
Couple things. Of all the times to complain about the coach, I probably wouldn't have done it after a 37-7 wire-to-wire win. Would have maybe saved that text for something else. Also, man, I don't know what to tell you, but I don't know if you're watching at all. If you want to complain about the job he's done this year, not only the overall results, the specific play calling is what I talked a lot about in that BYU episode. And if you don't see that, if you don't see that that's been elite, then I can't help you. Then you just simply don't know what you're looking at. He has done a fantastic job with that part of it. So I don't know what to tell you there, other than I probably would have saved that text for after a loss. On the extension buyout part of that, that's really all that matters. The extension doesn't matter. I mean, the years don't matter. It's only what buyout is given. If I'm Neil Brown, I want that buyout as large as possible. If I'm Wren, I've got to think that through. Where is the buyout? And this is for any coach. This is Neil. This is when a new coach comes in, whenever that is. The buyout's the one thing that matters. That's what gives the department the flexibility to make changes when they need to. So that's where the butting of heads will be. If I'm Neil, I'm not giving $1 back. I'd want a bigger buyout. And if I'm Wren, I'm saying, well, I got to have some flexibility. If I were Neil, I would also go in, and if the buyout's not going to move, and again, this is easy for me to say because I'm not internal of doing it, trying to go around some rules. I would say you need to go get some NIL money. Whether that's Wren and the MAC figure it out, whether that's the trust figure it out. That's what I would ask for if I were Neil, figuring the buyout's not going to get added to. Right. And figuring the years on the contract don't necessarily matter. It's only them. I mean, you can give another year, but it doesn't mean anything. I would say you guys have to figure out how to make sure there's enough money in here that I can go get players. If you want this thing to keep winning moving forward, there's got to be some money in the payroll to go get players. So how do you do that? How does Neil bring that to the athletic department, and how do they act on that? Because to me, that's the biggest part that can help the football program moving forward.
Yeah, the best deal for everybody going forward, and nobody would be completely happy, is that Brown finishes, with 7 or 8 wins. He's going to stay. West Virginia wants him to stay. You don't need to extend the contract anymore. It's okay. You got 3 years. Okay, everybody's fine there. 3 years is a lifetime now with players.
But the years don't matter. You can extend it to 4 or 5. It's only the buyout that matters. It's only how you structure the buyout.
Okay, all right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you could put another year in there and leave it as okay, you had a good season. Here's another year on the contract. It's the buyout that matters. Whether there's 2, 3, 5, or 10 years.
And the additional point would be, as you said, the NIL money. What are you going to do about the NIL money to fill the coffers? And you probably get some additional money for assistant coaches.
I'd ask for that too. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But the player pool, the player dollar pool is the crux of,
it is,
of what it is.
It's hard to even talk about that because we have no idea. You have no idea. You have no idea how much people are getting paid. You have no idea how much money's coming in.
Well,
I mean, they know, but
But I think the harder part is Neil can ask Wren for that, but it's not under Wren's purview right now. That's where it gets weird. Who's Wren asking for that? Or who's Neil? Does he have to go to the Country Roads Trust offices and ask them to put more? I mean, who's he negotiating with there? You know what I mean? That's why this whole outside entity controlling your payroll is such a weird setup.
It's
because
not workable.
Neil's talking to Wren about what the future is of the football program, but Wren technically can't go raise all the money. Now, there's some of those lines are getting blurred across college athletics, I realize. And I think that's, my stance on that. I mean, your professional fundraisers are going to have to be the ones to go get the dollars for schools. Right. It can't be others. It's got to be the people that do that day to day for a living and know how to do that.
Before we go to the next text, so
That's what I'd ask for.
The original text on this thing was, the last line was, go on with your excuses why Neil needed more time than the other coaches that have started when he did and succeed. So I find that comical that you call it excuses when I give you fact. And the fact is that every coach from Don Nehlen through Rich, Stu, Dana inherited 7 or more. There were 7, 8, and 9 NFL future players on their rosters. Neil inherited 1. I don't know how that's an excuse. That's a fact. And if you look at this roster right now, there is more than a half a dozen guys that will play in the National Football League. You got 3 on the offensive line. You got Sean Martin. That's 4, among others. Then there's babies in this program as well. So those aren't excuses. Those are facts. If you refuse to accept a fact, that's cool, but they're not excuses. Fact. It's fact.
Here's the other thing is that when Dana Holgorsen was here, he thought he was going to get fired, and there was nobody was clamoring to keep Dana Holgorsen. Okay, I don't think that Gordon Gee or the AD were going like, boy, we got to find a way to keep Dana. They want to keep Neil Brown. Okay, Ren Baker likes Neil Brown, wants to keep him. Gordon Gee likes Neil Brown, wants to keep him. They're looking for ways to keep him, not reasons to fire him.
Texter, hey, 3 guys. Andy Richardson in Charleston. Harkening back to the UCF game, when the officials reviewed a call that had favored UCF, the loudspeaker began to play Let It Be by the Beatles, supporting the call as is for the home team. My friends and I loved it immediately. We thought we need to do this at WVU home games. I certainly like Let It Be. It was pure genius. But what might West Virginia use when a play call is upheld? A few ideas. Don't Think Twice, It's All Right by Bob Dylan. Or how about just the lyrics, Don't Go Changin' from Billy Joel's Just the Way You Are. Or how about Rick Astley's lyrics, Never Gonna Give That You Up. Or, You Know the Rules and So Do I, a full commitment of what I'm thinking of. Or we could do a song where the call is overturned, maybe David Bowie's Changes. Just some ideas to spice up the wait during these long reviews. Those are all pretty good ideas, right? Yeah. This next one gets real. Hey, guys, Brian from Williamstown here. Just wanted to share a few general thoughts. Lots of ups and downs with the football and basketball programs lately, but I'm only trying to be positive moving forward. If life had taught me anything over the last week or so, it's to be grateful for the highs and lows of sport. If you don't remember, I work as a school psychologist. I work from home for a school district in southern Maine, a mere 20 minutes from Lewiston, where the devastating mass shooting and shelter-in-place just occurred. My schools were directly impacted, and so I was flown to Maine to spend the week with my district, helping them to try and recover. We had parents killed, staff members who live in Lewiston or have worked for Lewiston schools, and many, many more with connections and impacts. I help students by answering their questions and fears, providing crisis support for those deeply hurt and scarred, and made the sad realization that this entire community and area of the state has been deeply gutted and disheartened. That being said, I'd be remiss to not mention their strength, courage, and resilience to get back up and keep moving forward despite the losses and deep impacts. It taught me to be happy with the blessings many of us have despite these trying times. So that being said, I came home Friday night, greeted by my wife and daughter with hugs and tears. It was great to be back home with my family, and I gladly watched our Mountaineers play. Win or lose, with the realization that I am grateful to be here healthy with my family. It truly is a great day to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be. Like I said, getting real. And that was just obviously horrific.
Well, it's about counting your blessings and what you have to be thankful for, and we get busy and forget to do that.
Yeah. Texter Paul from Tampa. I wish I was tech savvy enough to make this a video, but a meme will have to do. Let's go, Mountaineers. So what does the fox say? Touchdown. Texter, longtime listener, first-time texter, Charleston native, third-generation Mountaineer. He played tennis. His dad played basketball. Freshman team. Is also on the tennis team, now begrudgingly a resident of New Jersey. When my dad passed recently, my 3 kids, future Mountaineers, ages 16, 15, and 10, and I took over the season tickets, get to as many games a season as possible. Their drive to Morgantown 5.5 hours long, but at least 1 hour of that is all of us faithfully listening to 3 guys. This week on the way to the BYU game, we loved listening to your interview with Charles Wesley Godwin. As we're walking out of the stadium victorious, my son spotted Charles and said, "Dad, we have to get a picture," because you gave that advice to a texter earlier on the show. He could not have been kinder. There he is. There's Charles in the audience there with the gang. He could not have been kinder to my kids, and his wife Samantha even offered to take the picture so my girlfriend could hop in as well. I attached a couple of pics. Thanks for keeping us all entertained on those long drives. So there you go.
Very nice.
So Samantha took the picture there in the lot, and then those are the kiddos as
Good
well.
one. It's tremendous.
Got
There
their,
you go.
Got their picture made.
Got their
with,
picture
picture
made
made.
with
Godwin.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big day.
Texter, 3 guys.
Got that film developed quickly.
Yeah. 3 guys, please allow me. What the heck is this?
What are you doing?
I get
Beeping,
more.
there's
I'm
things.
just turning this stupid thing off. Hang on. I normally don't get these many calls. I'm just shutting it off. 3 guys, allow me to express my pride in my son. First, he was selected to march with the Macy's Great American Marching Band for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in NYC. They released the music last week. The tune they're going to be marching to is Sweet Caroline.
Oh, geez.
Just imagine my pride when he said, "They better be ready for the West Virginia version because I'm going to represent." Tears filled my eyes as I imagined him teaching thousands along the parade route the correct way to sing that song. Texter, hey, long-time listener, first-time texter. I'm watching the game the other night. I told my daughter after Preston Fox's touchdown, "There goes Sherman Fox again." She looked at me funny and thought I was crazy. I just smiled and didn't even try to explain. I also had a thought and was wondering if you could help me out with something. In light of the new nicknaming technology that you have developed, I was trying to decide between Amos White or Jaheim Zeroaway. Let me know what you think is better. Signed by Paul G. from Columbus via Clarksburg.
He meant Stedman Fox, right? Not Sherman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stedman.
he did.
Stedman,
Yeah, he
yeah.
did. 3 guys, thanks for doing your show. I'm a Morgantown native. I graduated from Morgantown High in '87. Really appreciate how the show keeps me close to home since I've now lived in Atlanta longer than I've lived in Morgantown. I listened to 501, Charles Wesley Godwin, struck by what a fantastic ambassador he is for MHS, WVU, and Morgantown in general. In less than 2 weeks, I'm taking my oldest to see Charles's show in Atlanta, and we are both beyond excited. We'll be trying to whip up the crowd with some Let's Go Mountaineers chants, probably cause nightmares for the locals based on their last visit to the Old Gold and Blue. He's talking about the Sugar Bowl there.
Mm-hmm.
Q Country Roads, thanks, Rob, in Atlanta. P.S. Does the men's basketball team have more or less wins than twice the number of football wins? I hope Eilert and the boys get one under the belt. Signed by Matt, originally from Charleston.
Brad, that might be a good number.
Yeah,
14?
Actually, that wasn't Matt in Charleston. Matt in Charleston's next. Anyway, I don't know what that number's going to be. Someone wanted to know when was the first time West Virginia started singing Country Roads after victories. That was in Rich, right? That was
Yeah,
Rich?
and it was in response to all the field storming and all the chaos that ensued around that, looking for a way to keep people in the stands and celebrate that way. So it developed. I don't remember the exact year though.
Someone
somewhere
needs to
around
pull that out. That needs to be an historic date, maybe a holiday or something like that. Hey, 3
It's worked
guys.
well, hasn't it?
It works.
It's become one of the best traditions in sports.
Yes.
You see Clemson rush the field. They beat Notre Dame and rush the field. It's
Did
kinda
they rush
weird,
the
isn't it?
field when they won?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did they really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, got 2 natties and you
Yeah.
beat Notre Dame.
Are
and
you
rush the
seriously?
field.
Why'd they do that? That's
Pretty-
weird.
Yeah.
Hey, 3 guys. I recently retired, moved to beautiful Lake Gaston on the North Carolina-Virginia border. I wanted to assure you that pontooning in the fall is indeed wonderful.
Mhm.
As a loyal fan of the world champion Mountaineers and on behalf of so many other remote fans, I just wanted to say thanks. The show keeps us connected to the state and our favorite team. I'm originally from McDowell County, Big Creek High School. Thank Bob Gresham, Oscar Patrick, and Coach Father George Needham.
George Needham.
I did not know
Was George
George
from
was
McDowell County?
I never
The
knew
Free
that.
State
I
of
always
McDowell
thought he was a Wood County guy.
One of the best.
Lots of Mountaineer faithful in southern West Virginia continue the efforting through the last 3 games are winnable. OU is not invincible. Think of 1982. Hope to make a home game next year, and I'll stop by the Three Guys Food Court. Signed by Joe from Valentine's, Virginia. P1 Jason in Dallas. Hello, gentlemen. Some thoughts on what phase should be used or what phrase should be used for the home version of thanks for having us. I think it depends on the scenario. If you're favored to win the game, you should say, hey, great seeing you. If we've beaten them in consecutive games, we should say, hey, always a pleasure. And if we're a home dog, we should say, hey, text me when you get home. My preseason thoughts about being able to win 8 games don't look so outlandish now, do they? Sometimes things just come together, like my fantasy golf team this past weekend. 5th place out of 14,117 entries.
Good cash.
Thought I'd share for the pleasure of golf lovers out there. Not my biggest cash, not my smallest either. Love the show. So how much did he win?
5.
Won $5,000.
Good day.
On how much of a bet? So how much did he bet?
I don't know. I can't say it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Less than 5.
Less than.
Well done.
How about just
those,
go ahead.
Those thanks for having us shirts are catching fire here.
They're in the store, right?
Yeah, they're in the store. You can get one. Actually ran into a gentleman wearing his at the home game the other day. Luke, you have that picture? The basketball game? Saw one out in the wild. There it was. Look, got a quick picture post game. Thanks for having us in gold. So thank you. That's fun.
It's too
good to see
man.
you.
So you went to the basketball game, did you?
Well, sure.
I mean, there you are. That's not photoshopped or anything. You were
Yeah,
there.
I was actually right in the concourse tunnel there.
Awesome.
So thanks. Looks
How about
good.
just a
Look at it. Look how good that shirt looks, Kirchwell.
It looks great. How about just a good luck with the rest of the season?
Yeah.
No, I mean, because that's like
Doesn't
you
have enough-
expected to win, you win like
Doesn't
hey,
have
listen,
enough
good-
taunt in it.
It'll develop.
Yeah, it'll come. Someone's going to get it. It's going to be like a.
Yeah,
it's
it'll
gonna be a-
hit.
Thanks for having us was organic.
Yes,
We didn't plan on that. It just
Something
developed. It'll come up.
Texter said, hey, I went to Mario's Fishbowl. I had one of the best cheesesteaks I've ever had. Thanks for the suggestion. Well, I mean, I'm glad. He asked, and I said, yeah, go there if you want to get the feel. I'll tell you what, a good moist cheesesteak.
Yeah, hard to beat. Agreed.
Got to be moist. Nothing better when they're dry. Bad
Toast that
situation.
bread.
Yeah.
A little mayo on there.
Texter, I've been thinking
Yeah,
the past
cheese.
few weeks.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. I've
Onions
been
and
thinking
peppers.
I've been thinking the past few weeks how journalism and media has changed over the years. Early 90s, I'm a student at WV. I couldn't wait to get my hands on the Sunday Dominion Post after a game as early as possible to get the box score, stories, opinions. In fact, I remember a few nights picking up the Sunday edition at Dairy Mart, Gomart, on my way back from an evening on High Street. Now with stats, scores, social media happening simultaneously, I find myself looking forward to Sunday afternoons when your podcast drops. Thanks for making Sunday afternoons a little more enjoyable as we move toward episode 1000, not Craig in Craigsville. To his point, man, the Sunday newspaper used to be cherished. Like you would get into that thing and it was
All day.
it was awesome.
Could be, yeah.
You think Mickey Faferi wrote a few stories in a Sunday?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my. He would just bang them out there. It's awesome. Texter, has a new basketball coach for the WVU men and women's teams ever happened in the same season? I don't know.
That's no, right?
That's a good question. I mean, if we had a researcher, we could find that out.
Have the staff work on that.
Yeah. Recently, you had a text from someone who shared their son got a glove from a Mountaineer player. I'm curious if it was Ben Cutter. You see, after the UCF game, Ben gave a glove to my boy, and we both couldn't have been more excited. My son loved it so much he wore it the whole night, breakfast the next day. Ben seems like a great kid off the field as he is on it. Hopefully we can keep him around. I know he's created a fan for life at our house. Yeah, that kid's happy with that glove.
Oh, that's great.
Also, I know it's hard to believe, but I was out on the water recently and managed to snap this picture of Daniel Craig filming a new Bond movie. You're not going to believe this, but the crew was using a Lou Wendell Marine pontoon. It was a miracle. I even managed to get the picture at all, with daylight only lasting 3.5 hours now. Can't believe Tony hasn't mentioned this yet. Truthfully, my picture is as authentic as some of those poems you've been getting lately, but fun nonetheless. Lastly, my son is 2-0 attending Mountaineer games. Because of this, I'm currently receiving NIL on behalf of my son in the form of 2 tickets to all future games, including bowls, to ensure victories. Please spread the word.
You know,
Still
Cutter-
waiting on a hoppy hanky, signed Philip in Tampa.
You know, Cutter's a guy, I mean, you really hurt losing Lathan and Cutter. It took a while to figure it out, but he's come on the last couple games. I mean, there's a guy. Can he be? I'm almost thinking like a Grant Wiley guy could make that kind of difference over the next several years.
You're right on. He's had 2 excellent games for WVU.
He has a chance to be an extremely good player, really good. However, gotta remember Grant Wiley, he consensus All-American, the whole thing. That's hard.
Okay,
that's rarefied air. He could be a great player.
I mean, like a
all-conference player.
Okay.
Yeah, he could do that.
All right.
Texter.
All due respect to Grant. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, Grant. I mean,
Grant
there was one Grant Wiley.
Grant was a dude.
There was one Grant Wiley all time. There's one Grant Wiley.
I understand.
Preston Fox and Drake Stoops, both walk-ons, similar type of clutch players, should be good. P.S. Let's add some wishbone in this week for our backs for old time's sake. This next text is pretty interesting. Charlie from Midlothian, the guy that overloads his car with Kroger gas. He uses the gas points, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fills everybody up.
Yeah.
Hasn't been busted yet.
Not yet. TC, after you established the over-under of 7.5, I thought I'd observe Brad on Sunday's podcast and track how many times he takes his glasses on and off. During the spreads on stats segment, choosing the under would have been a winner. It was 7. However, later on, he can be seen looking at his phone with his glasses on. At 119.53, he set a new league record of 9 complete sheds. Will he go for 10 today? That was funny. Texter, Leroy and Logan. As a former Old Navy employee, I can't tell you how much it really upsets me that Lou Wendell only sells to Marines. What's up with that? No, sir. No, sorry about that, Lee. You're confused there. It's Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They don't sell just to former Marines. They sell to anybody and everybody. Marine is a nautical term there. They'll sell to anybody. A little bit of confusion there. Yeah. Even people that worked at Old Navy. This one kind of heater toward you, Brad.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
Pie in the face, Brad. Tony, you delivered. Sliced, served the pie the whole time. Brad's ripping you a new one. He talked about his pie, never shared it with you.
True.
Go to the tape, review it. Love the show, Tony. Jeff from Sandyville. That was kind of
need
true.
to review the tape.
You,
what happened?
Remember Sunday when I was cutting the pie and being nice to you guys and serving it, and he was just crushing me for like not bringing it. Oh, I don't know what his deal was.
Yeah, as usual. And Jeff, it's not your fault. You didn't have all the information, so I understand that. Where you might take Tony's side, you just don't know. Not the first time he's held something. The only reason that coconut cream pie made it in here is because I went on the offensive early. As soon as he tried to say, I'm getting one at the stadium, you guys aren't getting it, I immediately attacked and said,
that's what I did.
I'll handle our own pie. I'll take care of Hoppy and I and get our own pie, because I'm sure Mike will take care of us and bring us our own. So thank you, Jeff. I understand. You're right. I did not show it with Tony, did not think about saving any for Tony, would not have saved any of our pie for Tony, because he tried to cut the two of us out, and Mike came through for us as he wouldn't. So he was shamed into holding the one for us.
Tony, your response?
Yeah, if the guy brought the pie to the stadium, which he did, I was going to bring it in here Sunday morning. I got a refrigerator in our booth. I was going to bring it in.
How do you do with those donuts that are delivered for all of us when you get those? You bring those in for us?
No, I pass them out to the team.
Oh, yeah, they don't make it into us.
I walk down the plane. I give
Cookies?
everybody on the team.
You get cookies.
Same deal. Same guy. It's Joe Mock. That's the guy that's got to befriended Coach Stevenson.
I know who Joe is. I've met Joe, talked to Joe. He texts us all the time, wants to know what we think of the cookies and the donuts, and I always have to tell him I don't know. They never make it to us. So thank you, Jeff, but I realize you don't know how Tony operates with food.
Here's why I do that.
That's why I just handled it for us.
Here's why I do that, Hoppy. The boxes that he brings them in are like this.
Yeah.
So I literally go like, I'm not carrying this thing. I'm not schlepping this thing in the middle of the night all over the place. So I just pass them out to the kids.
You schlepped a pie in the middle of the night just so you couldn't get... Hey, speaking of things.
What do you got
Well,
there?
this is interesting. This was dropped in my work mailbox over at Daniels. It's where this was dropped off.
What do you got in there?
You have a box now at Daniels?
He works there.
Yeah. Don't you have a mailbox?
Oh.
Got stuff.
Oh, Reese's.
Got stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Reese's. This is the one with the potato chips. Potato chips sprinkled in there, but that's not the main thing. Here's the note. Got a handwritten note. Listener to the show, MJ from Savannah. MJ from Savannah, Georgia.
Wow.
Was in and dropped this off. So
Great-
thank you for the
great
Reese's
place.
peanut butter cups. But here's the real thing.
Oh.
Again, unlike Tony, unopened, Hoppy. I've not opened it. Brought it in.
That looks high level.
Some Savannah Crunch high-level specialty popcorn.
Oh, that looks good.
It was delivered.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So thank
Nice.
you, MJ. We appreciate that very much.
I think
Some chocolate right on that.
Oh, yeah.
Open that up here in just a minute.
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
Thank you, MJ.
I've been holding this for a long time. This came a long time. Oh my gosh, you talk about a long time ago. This
What?
came. This was April 28th of this year.
What, a text or what?
That's
April 28th.
Yeah, but I've been holding it for basketball season.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Gentlemen, enclosed is a memento that hung in my father's house for over 50 years. My father, Charles V. Critchfield, was an avid WVU fan and supporter of all Mountaineer athletics. In his den hung many framed pictures and newspaper clippings. Hiding among the large framed clippings about Jerry West and his teams was this small reminder of the national champion NIT team. After my father passed in 2019, myself and my sisters have tried to find a home for many of his mementos, and to date I've found no taker or suitable location for the enclosed. After visiting your studios during the live event, I thought the Hall of Fame room, with its wonderful wall mural of that team, might be a place where it would be welcomed. My father often talked about that team and the fact that it was a true national champion. I'm not sure where the original box score is located. Perhaps it became too frayed and discarded, but please accept this copy. As any box score does, it tells a story of foul shooting. West Virginia was 11 of 15. Western Kentucky, 5 of 12.
Here you go.
The Mountaineers won the
Plus
world
6.
championship. So that's the box.
That's
Oh, that's cool. Hey, pass that around. I want to see that.
And CL will find a home for it, my man.
Oh, boy. You know where that should go? Because I think it might get, they're so big downstairs and this is small. This is neat. Is that we should gift this to John.
That's exactly what I saw. Yep.
To Dyke Racy. The coach was Dyke Racy and give it to his son, John. That is outstanding.
Yeah, I agree with you.
West Virginia. Wow. West Virginia was down 8 at the half.
Didn't
See
let them
that?
stop them. Didn't let us stop them. Made shots. Hey, three guys, last time I wrote it was to back up Hoppy on the live to tape issue. Now, as an attorney, it's hard to resist the urge to negotiate between the two camps regarding Faustian bargains. Can I propose that Jerry Faust himself made a Faustian bargain to end up the head coach of Notre Dame?
Ah, yeah.
His baffling lack of experience leads to a deal with the devil, which blows up in his face by his lack of success. The devil gets his due. Just an offer to end hostilities between the academic and athletic camps of the podcast, signed by Ryan S., now in Cincinnati instead of Morgantown. Yeah, we'll accept that.
Yeah, that's a good compromise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Three guys. Hoppy's coaching hire, Dan Stratford, leads WVU men to the Sun Belt Championship game on Sunday against Marshall with probable #1 NCAA seed on the line. Dr. Jeff in Charleston, congratulating you.
Yeah, coming up, rematch. I had Marshall coach Grassi on my program today and made a big mistake. I kept calling it the Southern Conference instead of the Sun Belt Conference.
Oh, yeah, a world of difference.
Screwed that up.
They used to be in the Southern. They don't look favorably upon that.
Yeah, but Coach Grassi was gracious about it. But there you go, man. Rematch.
Here's another one. Hopefully this text makes Tony's deadline. Let's go, Mountaineers. Congrats to Coach Stratford, who athletic director Hoppy hired, and the men's soccer team for advancing to play them boys from Huntington Sunday. Walk in, beat the herd, walk out, say thanks for having us. Then after the victory, the team can stop by at the Elkview Go-Mart for a celebration Fly Rod Slim Jim Reese Cup. Question for you, Brad. Do you think Reese's should come out with a turkey shape for Thanksgiving? Thank you, Matthew, not Morgan from Morgantown.
I think they're okay because you can transition nicely from the pumpkins of Halloween right into the Christmas trees that come out. So I think we're okay.
Plus, it'd be tough with chocolate, I think, to get a turkey.
Get a definitive shape.
Yeah. I'm not in the candy business, but.
Boy.
Did you ever go to the Hershey's plant? Hershey's
Never
factory?
been there. I've
I
always
haven't
heard.
been there either. I read, which is just a crime
Is it
that I
neat?
haven't.
Is it
Huh?
neat?
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
By the way,
Free
if
samples?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
you go to
Chocolate fountain just stuck my face right underneath it.
Go-Mart Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, they're open all the time, but if you go Tuesdays and Thursdays, you get triple rewards points at Go-Mart. Get that Go-Mart card, save on food, save on fuel. Gomart.com. So this next one, kind of complicated. But anyway, the point of all of this is this. 2005, 6, and 7, peak years for the Mountaineers. I found some interesting things. During that time span, 5 through 7, West Virginia did not have any total offensive top 20 performances, school history, and no top 20 all-time passing performances. And in that span, they did have 7 top 20 all-time rushing performances. He says, that kind of surprises me, especially the 0 Pat White teams currently have a top 30 offensive performance in WVU history. But this Mountaineer team does. And it's been close to sliding into the top 20 all-time in rushing performances. This seems to prove that time of possession, running the ball defensively defense truly wins games. And Neal has been pretty effective against Oklahoma.
Hey, so Brad, West Virginia's been running wild here for the last couple games. As you would say, opponent adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
What does the matchup look like for you Saturday night? How well can West Virginia run against this Oklahoma team?
Yeah, that was in that. So that was the second part of that spreads on stats part of that. It's strength on strength. I mean, they've been pretty good at times in stopping that. Now, what Oklahoma defense comes forth? That one that gave tremendous effort against UCF, the one that was tackling, or does the one that had injuries over the last couple games that missed a bunch of tackles? That's all up for grabs.
Can he get to 200?
And I think that Danny Stutzman being back is critical because play that out. Not only is he their best linebacker and one of the best in the country, if he's not out or limited and you have younger linebackers in, that's where all that motion and stuff that Neal's been throwing in there, that's where it really fouls up young linebackers, where they're susceptible to that play action and RPOs and motion where their eyes get caught.
Yes.
So I would think Stutzman will be less likely to fall for that because he's so experienced. So some of that matters as well.
Can he get to 200?
I think you need to.
Okay.
I think you need to.
West Virginia they're number 1 in the league in time of possession. We used to say, doesn't matter, time of possession. Boy, has that changed. I mean, time of possession really now counts for West Virginia, I think.
No question. No question.
So after they beat Texas on October 7, 34-30 in the Red River rivalry deal, they did come home to that UCF game, and they just hung on 31-29.
2-point conversion away from...
Yeah, and since then, loss at Kansas, 38-33, loss at Oklahoma State, 27-24.
They've only given up 30 twice, right? Those games right there, UCF and a win and Kansas and a loss. The only time the opponent scored more than 30, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they were now, they were shutting people, well, no, I'm not. No, never mind. I'm thinking of another team.
And that's been West Virginia's deal here lately. That offense is really going, and you're going to have to score some points here.
How about last week in that game against BYU? West Virginia wins the toss, takes the ball, goes down and scores.
You saw why.
Yeah.
Right? We'll just take the lead right away. Here we go.
Yeah. Texter Scope spreads bellhop. If we're often scarred by our past experiences, here's one positive for Oklahoma. The setup is eerily similar to Virginia Tech in 2002. Top 10 undefeated team loses 2 in a row in November before facing an improving Mountaineer team at home. Maybe lightning will strike twice. Signed by Not Charlie in Charleston. Texter, ever since I attended the Fiesta Bowl in 2008, I've rooted against Oklahoma. Not the team, but their band. Learn a new song. Sheesh. I don't even know why they have a conductor or a drum major. We all know what stupid song you're going to play. Freshman band tryouts. Welcome to OU band practice. Here's the music you have to learn. Freshman looks at one sheet, flips it over, and nothing is on the back, just one song. Imagine failing band class there. How do you not learn that song? It's the only one we play. Anyway, go Mountaineers, beat the Sooners. So not a fan of Boomer Sooner.
Apparently.
One negative there.
Remember when West Virginia was playing them when the schooner turned over?
It did.
Oh, that was scary.
It was lucky nobody was seriously hurt.
It was really a wow.
Yeah.
That was bad. John from Oklahoma City. Scope, spreads, and Dean. Do we need to worry about any rules if the Big Ten does nothing to Michigan for their second blatant rules violation dealt with this season, on top of Kansas saying nothing to see here, move on their obvious offense? So here's what I think has changed. I read that earlier, this thing. You know what's changed?
What?
Do you know why this thing has just turned into an absolute crap fest? Because schools now, presidents and universities, they're not like operating like they used to, where they throw up their hands and go like, whoa, we will fix this immediately. It's completely flipped. Now they go opposing the NCAA. Do you remember when schools would like go like, whoa, what do we have? Okay, immediately we'll issue the punishment. This will never happen. This will never happen again. We're on top of it. Now it's like, let's lawyer up.
Yeah.
That's what's changed.
Yeah.
That's why it's a different world. What are you laughing at me for?
I've been saying that for years on here.
Yeah. Well, I don't listen.
Picked up on it.
That is right. That's exactly what's changed.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
You fall on your face in the old days like, oh, my gosh, we're sorry. We're going to fix this. We'll take care of it. We're going to fire that coach. We're going to suspend this coach. And now it's just like everyone just.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years on this show. That's exactly what has changed. And the one time you've seen AD stand up like at LSU, the AD gets run out of there, right? That's the difference in how athletics is managed. The first line of compliance was always internal. And you were, as a longtime employee, you were afraid to cross that line or do something that may get you snagged.
And Brad,
I don't know if that's the case anymore.
Not that many years ago, when you were in athletic administration, it was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
If you got in trouble with the NCAA, a big deal, right? I mean, there's a national story, all this, then you're going to have, you can't go to a bowl game, this is going to happen, somebody's going to get fired. Now it's like, it didn't happen, and we're appealing, and we'll have lawyers, and by the way, it didn't happen.
Yeah. Yep.
But wait a minute, we have this, we have you on tape. Yeah, it didn't happen. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I'm glad you enjoyed my Kelly Oubre comment earlier this week. I'm also the guy that offered you to bring a Thanksgiving pizza from Homegrown in last November. Heading up a little early this year. Do you guys know when you'll be doing your Cincinnati wrap-up show? That would likely be a good time for me to bring you over a Thanksgiving pizza if you'd like. Thank you.
Sunday morning, 10:30.
Well, yeah, we never have turned out a pizza that we know of. I don't know if you're going to be able to make one at 10:30 on a Sunday morning, but that's when we do record. Last one. Hey, three guys. Hello. This is the dad of the bartender at the apothecary who has mentioned to you that I'm a fan of the show. I've been listening from the start and would like to send tweets, now posts, back when you read them. Question, do you think Jalen Anderson gets on the field again this year? Hated for the kid, big reason for the Oklahoma State win last year. Signed by P1 Dad from the apothecary.
I met his daughter. I was over there with my wife and had a beer. And
was it one of you?
They didn't have it on draft. So I got a Halleck. But anyway, met his daughter, very nice young lady, and
terrific.
Had a nice. But I tell you, Brad, they keep trying to give Anderson opportunities. It's not like he's not getting opportunities.
Jaheim White's taking some carries. You got to find some carries for Jaheim White.
Yeah,
it's productivity. Is all this is.
Yeah.
This is productivity. You produce, you get to play. You don't produce, you don't get to play. This Savannah Crunch popcorn, so it's chocolate and pecans and the popcorn. And I'm thinking, like, Three Guys needs to have its own popcorn. And we need to call it Mountaineer Munch. This is called Savannah Crunch. We call it Mountaineer Munch. We get someone to make this for us in West Virginia. It'll be West Virginia-centric, but that would be a great item we could put in the holiday shopping cart that we're going to have on episode800.com, right?
Did you open that yet?
No, I haven't opened it yet. I mean, I thought, but that would be nice. I'd like to do an elite level popcorn for Christmas. You think we could do that?
Sure.
Dave would take care of that for us?
Sure.
Okay. What? What
No,
are you
nothing.
giggling about over there?
Nothing. Just everything, just like dump it on Dave.
Dave helps. He's a marketer. That's what he does. He markets. You do talk shows, he does marketing. You go to Dave and say, hey, Dave, we want to do Mountaineer Munch for the Christmas shopping season. Can we get it in our thing? He'd probably go like,
I'll tell you what.
It'll be done.
I have met few people in my life who makes things happen.
Thank you.
Dave.
Yes.
like,
Elite.
Elite.
An elite doer.
level.
Five-star guy. That's what he does. He gets stuff done.
Would hire again. I mean.
Can I have 13 of you? And can you start? Yes, exactly right.
And plus, he's always just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Goes and does it.
Just does it.
Then like we show up and go, how did all this happen?
Right. Elite.
Teamwork makes the dream work. All right. We're back on Sunday after West Virginia and Oklahoma. It will also be after West Virginia and Monmouth. So we got that going on. And then we got basketball again next Tuesday.
Here we go.
What's happening?
They crank them up. So what do you want to do on this dude with the pizza for Thanksgiving? He wants to bring us the pizza for Cincinnati. Cincinnati, he said, Cincinnati
Wrap
recap?
up Cincinnati? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if we can do it. Like you said, Sunday at 10:30.
Reach back out to us. You know what the text line number is. Just reach out to us. We'll figure something out because we'd like to do that. Their pizza's special.
Yeah.
It's kind of terrific. Three Guys Before the Game brought to us in part by the fine folks at Comax Business Systems. Are you in need? Are you in need of help for your business? From one digital phone line to 1,000, Comax Business Systems is there for you. Any kind of business equipment that you need, yes, but they also provide technical services. They provide IT service support. They can come into your business, check you out, see exactly where you are, what's good, what needs to be helped. They are fantastic, fantastic people. West Virginia, born and bred, and they've been doing it for over 25 years. Visit ComaxWV.com. That's ComaxWV.com. Three Guys also brought to us by the fine folks at Gomart. Get that rewards card, Gomart.com. Super shout out as well to Lou Wendell Marine Sales and that Tri-Tune Avalon boat that they've got on sale. Check it out. There it is. For those of you watching on the YouTubes or wherever it might be, go and tell them you're a Three Guys listener and get that super special price on the Tri-Tune. Daniel Craig may be there. From
And you don't have to be a Marine to buy it.
You do not. You don't have to be a Marine. And special thanks as well to the folks at the Conley CPA Group. They provide value beyond the numbers, and they provide us with spreads on stats. That'll do it for us. Our producer, Luke Rousey, episode 503, previewing WVU and OU for the very last time on the football field.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, you think, you know it's not going to happen again.
Not the last time.
It's the last time.
Nope.
Done. We're out. Be
Take
good.
the field. Take the field.
Right.
Go get one here. Kind of be special. See y'all. Be good.